This is Hidden Springs group camping area. Okay, it's for group camps. It says it opens at 6 and closes at 10 or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, it's just a nice place. And I've never ever seen anybody out here. And it's a shame because it's a beautiful spot. But anyway, got a question for you. Should an older rider ride a motorcycle? Should an older person ride a motorcycle? And you know, I've watched a lot of videos and heard a lot of different people's opinions. And they always talk about one thing. Well, as you get older, your reaction time slows, your decision making slows, la 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 la. Okay. And that might be true in some cases. That might be true in a lot of cases. But I'm going to tell you something straight up, cold, hard fact, okay? Everybody is different. So when these clowns make these videos that says, well, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that, and you're too old for this, and your reason why you can't do that is because you're getting older, that's all horseshit, okay? Because they're trying to throw everybody in the same damn category. And that pisses me off. I started making these videos to try to get older people out there to do some riding, to get out there and enjoy life, okay? And every video I've seen since then has always trying to be telling these old people, well, you know, you got to learn how to ride smarter and all that kind of bullshit. You guys I tell you guys need to go sit in the closet there and think about things, okay? And here's my point, okay? Now, if you stop and look at the aging process, everybody says, well, that don't start until you're 60 years old. Bullshit. The aging process starts in your 30s. Okay, and here's the deal. You're working a 40-hour week job, and you get home and you said, I'm tired. I'm going to sit on my ass and take it easy. You do that for 5 days, sometimes 6 days straight, okay? Come the weekend there, you say, well, I'm going to take this day and just totally relax. I'm going to rebuild myself. I'm going to rejuvenate. So over a period of time, this becomes a habit. And over a period of time, habits become the norm. And when the norms and the habits become one, then you get complacent. You know, you think, oh, well, you know, I can just sit here and relax and I'll feel better. That is called aging, okay? And I'm not saying you got to get out here and run no marathon or climb Mount Everest or nothing like this. I'm just saying, anytime you sit there and you think, boy, I'm tired, you should do something to actually and physically and mentally relax. Not just sit back in the chair and watch TV, you know, drinking on a beer or whatever the case may be, whatever you want. You know, that's not relaxing. That is postponing the inevitable. The inevitable is you're going to get older, okay? And you're just helping it along. I'm not saying you can't sit back there and drink a few beers or drink coffee or whatever you want to and watch TV. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't make it the habit. Don't make it the norm. So you do this for 20 years and then, like I said, then you start getting little knee pains and back pains and this kind of pain and that pain. Well, by the time you're 50 years old, so you start thinking, well, the things I used to do, well, I hurt. I can't do that, okay? When you've done nothing out of the ordinary, when you've just done nothing but just the habit for 20 years or 30 years, then the things that you used to do you can't do anymore. It's because you don't do them anymore. Plain and simple. It's because you screwed up. You screwed things up, okay? You've got to be aware of what's going on. You've got to know how to take care of yourself. And you know, there's nothing wrong with eating healthy, nothing wrong with watching this, but you've got to get, and you don't have to do a lot of physical exercise. You don't have to do, just stay busy. Keep your blood stirred up, okay? I myself, I like to do what's called isometrics. It ain't no big thing. I'm not trying to look like Arnold. You know, he's Arnold and I'm me. I don't want to look like him. He don't want to look like me. You know, that's even keel there. But I just want, and whenever I get a pain, I'm thinking, Why did I get that pain? I got that pain because I'm not using that muscle. Because I haven't used that muscle in a long time. So that tells me that's the muscle I've got to work on. That's what, whatever caused that pain, I've got to figure out what caused that pain, and I've got to work on that pain. I'm going to make that pain work for me. And I don't mean get out here and overdo it, and everybody says, well, you've got a strain or something like that, you can actually make it worse. That's very, very true. But everything has to be done in moderation. Keyword, moderation, okay? The other day, I was out, and I in one of my previous videos, and I said I dropped my tannery. It's first time since 21. Well, first time I ever dropped it. Okay, now let me tell you what happened there. Okay, now here's where another part of this comes into play. Your psychological makeup. Okay, it's what you're thinking, how you're thinking, and the way you're thinking before you do something will greatly change the outcome. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Okay, I pulled up there and I parked in the spot there. I wasn't really happy when I parked the bike. I didn't like it, okay, but I stopped there anyway, parked. And it was kind of like it was like on a hill, and the high side was the kickstand side, so the bike sat just up a little straighter than what I liked, okay, so that's why I wasn't happy with it. So when I come back there and got ready to get on the bike, and I thought to myself, boy, I'm going to crash. I should have just stopped, put the bike back on the kickstand, and walked away, and just totally walked away, and get that notion out of my head, because I'd already psyched myself up. I was going to drop that bike, and you know something? I didn't walk away. I didn't try to change my instinct, and I dropped the bike, just bigger than shit. And all I had to do was go. I turned to the right. All I had to do was turn to the left, and I'd been just fine. But I didn't stop to think about it. And that's what I'm saying. When you're riding, you've got to expect the unexpected. Do not get into habits. Do not take habits and make them the norm, okay? Because it's going to get you in trouble. Always think about what you're doing. Now, don't get me wrong. You can get out there and relax. I run most of the time 40, 45 mile an hour, okay? The other day, I went to Indiana just for shits and giggles, and I rode through a couple towns there, and I was running 65, 70 mile an hour. And when I got back there, I thought to myself, I wish hell I'd never went, because I wasted that trip. Why? Because I was going too damn fast. The only part that was worth riding when I went down Highway 41 from Rockville down to Clinton, Indiana. That's a beautiful route, and I thought, man, and I slowed down. I'm running 40 mile an hour. People behind me, and they're shaking their fists, and I thought, you know what, tough. So anyway, but that's what I'm saying. You don't want to get complacent. You don't want to make bad habits the normal, okay? And if you have a bad feeling about something, stop what you're doing, get off, walk away, walk completely away from the bike, and think about what you're going to do. And it's like, now this is not going to make any sense to some people. It's like riding dirt. I started off in riding dirt bikes. I love dirt bikes. I still love dirt bikes, okay? And you always picked your line. You never changed in the middle of your run. If you picked a line, you stuck by that line. If it was something that you didn't expect, you stuck to it anyway, because if you didn't, you knew damn good and well you would crash. You can't change your mind in the middle of your run. You can't do it. Psychological, you'll panic. And once you panic, you're done. So anyway, and that's kind of what I mean. Once you've got your mind made up, and if you don't like the way you got your mind made up, don't do it. Stop. Walk away. Think about it. Look at it again. Look at it from another angle. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's always another choice. And then when you come up with a solution that is, you're thinking, yeah, I like that, and you're really enthused about it, that's what you do. And it might be something totally different what you're going to do to begin with. So your psychology plays a big part. Your psychology plays a huge, huge, huge part in your aging process. You know, I've heard people say, well, I can't do this because I'm getting older and I know I like this. Well, 90%, 90% of the people out there, as they get older, they gain 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, okay? And so they say, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. That's because you got 40 pounds extra you're carrying. No, you can't do it. Uh, and that's all on you. That's from going home there and sitting in the chair there and relaxing and drinking a couple beers and watching TV and falling asleep. Okay, doing that for 6 days a week, 5 days a week, and doing it for year after year after year after year. You made a habit become the norm. Don't do that. Be your own person. Make up your own mind. And if you're trying to get back into the position where you can do things again, remember one thing: baby steps. Baby steps. I have seen so many. I go to Walmart, and I've seen so many older people, people that are younger than me, and they got the dead person shuffle. They shuffle, and there's a couple videos out there on YouTube you need to watch. Okay, that guy's supposed to be a doctor, but you know, and he tells you how to change that, and that's why I've always said, don't fall into habits. Change your habits or change the way you do things. Don't make anything the norm, because when the norm becomes, well, or habits become the norm, that's when you're in trouble. Okay, always change it. Always think about it. Always try to find another way, a different way. Okay, and it don't have to be anything drastic. Just a small change, baby steps. But anyway, like I said, I've seen these videos, and the guy and I'm not going to say they're full of shit. I'm just saying that, you know, they're giving their opinion, and everybody's opinion is worth something. You know, even if you can disagree with it. And it's like I always said, nobody is totally worthless. They could always serve as a bad example. Look at me. But anyway, and it's like uh, it's like anything you do. I quit smoking approximately about 25 years ago. Okay, and you know how I quit smoking? I took a brand new fresh pack of cigarettes out of my pocket and laid them in the top of my toolbox. I still worked at the time there, and I left them there. And everybody says, "Oh no, that's temptation. That's temptation. That's temptation." That pack of cigarettes laid on top of my toolbox, and here it is, 25 years later, and I've retired and brought all my stuff home, and that pack of cigarettes is still on top of my toolbox, unopened. You got to make up your mind. Get your psychology right. Get your head right. Okay. If you want to quit smoking, get your head right. Make up your mind. You're going to do it, and don't look back. And that's the way it is with a lot of things to do. It's just like your own personal health. Get your head right. Okay. Baby steps. Get back in line. Get back and to where you can do what you want to do. Get back and to where you can ride again. And you know, don't let habits become the norm. Always change your habit. Look, ride for everybody, trust no one. Okay? Expect the unexpected and expect it again and again and again and again. Because the thing of it is, every ride is always different. It doesn't matter whether you ride the same route, same streets, or nothing. Every ride is different. Okay? You could have your psychology just slightly screwed up, and it's going to change that ride. Everything affects your ride. Never get complacent. Never, never, never get complacent. And so being complacent brings me to another point. I am not saying anything bad about riding gear. I am not saying anything bad about safety equipment. I am just saying, don't get complacent with it. I have seen and heard of people that they've got helmets, they've got the little neck braces, they've got chest protectors, they've got padded pants, padded gloves, and all this kind of stuff. And they think, well, if I have a wreck, I have a 25% chance of surviving. I don't want to put that to the test. But when you're all duded up like that, like the Michelin man there, you do things that normally you probably wouldn't do. You say, oh, but no, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm not saying anything bad about gear. I mean, there's times I wear it and times I do not, because and I can only speak for myself. If you want to wear a helmet, absolutely wear it. If that makes you feel better, hell yeah, do it. Same way with all the riding. If it makes you feel better, hell yeah. Me, myself, it hinders me. And everybody said, oh, that's just a cop out. No, it hinders me. It makes me less aware because I start getting complacent. And complacency is something you've always got to fight against constantly. That's what I'm saying. Every ride is different. Never get complacent. With the helmet, all this kind of stuff there, it's like the other day when I went to Indiana, I come back and I was there around Ashmore, something like that, on Route 16, and it come a toad strangler. Okay, it'd been trying to sprinkle off and on ever since I crossed the Illinois line. So I stopped, put on my rain suit, and I thought, well, I was running 65, 70 mile an hour down the highway. I slowed down to about 45 mile an hour, turned on my flashers on my bike, and hug the right side. Why? Because I'm not going to get in a hurry. Rain is dangerous, okay? And if people think you can run just as fast in the rain as you can on dry pavement, you're full of shit, okay? Your chance of having an accident increases dramatically. And it's like I've always said, the faster you go, the chance of an accident it increases because your reaction time is shorter, smaller. So, but anyway, I seen these people making these videos, and they're trying to say, older riders, and this, and then we get smarter as we get older. Well, that's true. That's very true. We do get smarter, but then by the same token, uh, don't let yourself go down the rabbit hole saying, well, I'm too old for this shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's horse shit. Uh, Take your time, relearn how to ride your bike, relearn, and break all the bad habits. And it really burns me when I see somebody saying, uh, old myths need to die and all that. It's like, who in the hell are you? Okay, it's like, if you don't want to do them, that's fine. And if you think you're helping somebody out, you're wrong. Okay, you're just totally wrong. You might not be helping anybody out. You might be giving them, uh, a bag of worms. It's like it don't make any sense. Uh, Make your own mind up. Make your own decision. Okay, and we're all smart enough. We know what's good and we know what's bad. Deep down inside, your gut will tell you most of the time. Okay, but make good decisions and make good informed decisions. Okay, and it's whatever makes you feel good, not what this guy over here on YouTube is saying. It's what makes you feel good, because you know what? You know you better than anybody else in this world. So you know what's good for you and you know what's not good for you. You make that decision. You make your own decision, you ride. It's just like riding motorcycles. It's like what bike should you choose? It just, you ride the bike for what you're going to ride, for what you want to ride, okay? Pick the bike for your ride. Don't pick the bike for somebody else's ride, okay? And that's why I own many different bikes, because my mood changes. But it might be someday I want to go do some gravel road or even some off road, some single track. Well, I'm not going to take my Tanner because it's too damn big. If I'd ride it more, and maybe I'd be like what's the name, Pole Starries, but I don't have the ambition. Okay, but anyway, ride your own ride, do your own thing, and make good, intelligent decisions. Don't let the habits become the norm, and always uh, uh, revamp your psychology, okay? Because like I said, sometimes your frame of mind can be the difference between walk away from a wreck and not getting into one, okay? So it's your psychology. And that's the same way with aging. Same way, it's how you feel, your philosophy on things, how you feel is going to make a difference in the long run. Should an older rider in their 70s ride? Hell yeah. Everybody should, okay? And there's the thing, forget about the number. If you want to do it, just do it. And like I said, we all know what's good. We all know what's bad. We was born with an inherent good versus evil, and as long as you choose the good and the righteous route, you shouldn't have any problems. Okay, don't be overbearing, don't be pushing, and don't try to tell anybody nothing. But by the same token, don't take no shit. Okay, it's just real simple. Well, I guess I've talked not long enough about that, but sometimes you watch some of these videos and it don't upset me because, like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but it's just that I just don't want people to get the wrong idea. Think for yourself. Okay. Anyway, hey, it's a beautiful day. I think I'll ride some more. So ride safe, ride free. Think for yourself. Think free.